area, and also to repair handicap access to the building and provide exterior painting to the facility. As you know, picture speaks 1,000 words. It desperately needs some exterior work.
And a whitewash doesn't do it.
We have DPW garage, OSHA compliance safety improvements. Can you identify what those are?
Yeah. This would be upgrading the ventilation system in the garage. It would be also replacing some of the windows that are fixed right now that do not allow adequate ventilation with operating openings. And the purpose of this ventilation system repair would be to capture the vehicle exhaust systems from the mechanic bay, and so it would be something that would be wired, and this is something that came out as a result of an inspection that Massachusetts Division of Occupational Safety had performed earlier this year. The resulting recommendations have been translated into the request for $30,000. So what we want to do is address those recommendations and do so in a timely manner.
Okay, now I see replacement of lighting fixtures and controls. I assume that's everywhere, or?
So you're talking the septic system for those two facilities too, the building on the common and the DPW
Yes.
garage?
Yes, and you will recall from a year ago, those made it right to the very end. And when we made the final cuts on the capital improvement program, the DPW garage didn't pass because there was some question about whether, when they did an expansion, whether it would in fact destroy this new system that would be upgraded. And speaking with Mr. Hanlon, it would not. And then there was a second question that came up in terms of whether there was a crushed box, distribution box or something in there that needed to be replaced. And there is a broken concrete junction box that's there, and that's the necessity for replacing the septic system in its entirety.
But there, I see two of them here, DPW garage. I'm sorry, it's just, building on the common and the DPW garage?
That's right. That's right. It would be to do both. And the purpose is to deal with Board of Health regulations of both locations with serious capacity limitations that need to be addressed. And the third meeting house system is fairly primitive, as I understand. It's one of the things that came up in Kevin Buckley's report.
Then there's an additional number one is replacement of lighting fixtures and controls.
Correct.
And there's an asterisk next to that number.
Correct.
But there's no, I can't find a note.
Okay. That's all right. Let me try to clarify that.
Well, I think I might be able to help you. Yeah, I was at the ECC. We met, I think I mentioned the last meeting, we had grouped about 30 some odd possibilities of seeing how we can have a return within a certain period of time. And we've been working to narrow it down, and time being of the essence, we realized that with the lighting fixtures throughout the town completely, all of our structures are outdated, and there are some state mandates, and I don't remember the exact titles of the T12s and T8s and so on. They get a little complicated in that regard, but the ones that we have are outdated and they're not being manufactured anymore, and we can't replace them. So what they're doing is we realize that within a year and a half we can get a return on the funds by changing all of the lighting fixtures and bringing them up to code, because it would reduce our electrical costs significantly.
Yep.
Now, at that moment in time, we did not have a cost of what it would take for us to do that, and that's why I think you have the asterisk. John Welsh indicated that we would have that within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, now, a good friend of mine is a consultant to Cummings, Bill Cummings, actually, the founder and owner of
Mhm.
Cummings Brownfield. And he spent his career before he retired working for Cambridge Electric, which is now some other company.
Right.
And he literally, over the years, continues to just make money for Bill Cummings by changing fixtures and upgrading the millions of square feet this guy owns. But somehow, there's money to be had, that in the process of making the changes, they actually make money on the changes even before they get to the point of power savings. So, I'm not suggesting that we fall into that with Reading Light, because maybe we
Well,
don't,
the
okay?
Reading Light, was brought up on that, and there was some.
But what I'm
dollar
saying
amount.
is that, what I'd like to see, because I certainly would, one of my thoughts here is if it was $100,000 and it had a 1-year payback, right, I would take the money and pay cash for it out of debt stabilization. It would seem to me that that might be the right thing to do. And then put back into debt stabilization
From the savings.
the savings that we get, whether it takes 1 or 2 years to repay it, right? And maybe 10% over, maybe we make a policy that we do that, right? And then the balance of the savings goes into the general fund for the future operation. So, when we identify something like this, and then I know there's some kickback on the fixtures and stuff from the power companies. I don't know how much Reading is into this program, because it's not like, North Star, where they've been collecting from all the payers for years, and they have all those funds. But they keep upping the ante, because I think they're taking heat for not distributing enough of it. So, I look at this as an opportunity that we should, pursue, but I think we need a little more information
Yes.
from the committee.
I also ask a question, in this cost, did they figure in the possibility of asbestos? And then the reason I asked that, I remember I was down at the little
That's a
school,
good point, yeah.
and they said if we moved one tile, that you had to do whatever they do to the room for asbestos. So I think this 100,000, I don't know, but I think we have to look at every room that has the
Right.
asbestos tiles, and of course add this into the cost, which I think
Right.
is gonna and I'm not saying this is a bad idea,
Mhm.
but I think this is something
No,
that may
in
have.
fact- in
Yeah,
fact,
it's
we
a-
had to fund the school department as one of the capital requests, was
Right.
dealing
Right.
with, I think, this particular kind of room at the,
Exactly,
at-
so I think we
at
have to
the,
look at
Murphy
that and get
School.
that cost also.
Okay.
It was
I'll
fairly
I'll run
expensive.
that by John, on that. I believe we brought that up, but we didn't have an answer for that, and so that,
Yeah, it's important that we find that out.
I mean, because we're thinking here, we're changing light fixtures, not tearing down.
no, but the
No,
school
once you
department
move
went
it
through
aside,
that.
Yeah, but they were putting up, weren't they, they had to go deeper into the structure.
No,
That's what-
just
changing the light fixtures.
They changed the fixtures, and as a
They were doing
result, they were
fixtures.
disturbing it,
And you
It
have to
triggered-
remove some tiles to do the
and
fixtures.
it triggered the
Yeah,
asbestos.
once you start moving those things there.
That's what they gotta look
Yeah,
at.
Right.
now, these may not be, you know.
Oh, I don't know that we've ever
They've been
replaced
here
it
for a
since
while.
we've been here.
No,
This is a
this
drop
may
ceiling,
not
this
be.
is a drop ceiling.
I know, that's.
Yeah, that's
right,
what they
that's
had,
the
was a drop
problem.
ceiling. The good news is that
What,
it's a drop ceiling, so it's
That's
a
the
little
good news.
easier to deal with.
Those may have asbestos.
The tiles are asbestos. They could be.
Right.
They probably are.
They were at the school, at the other
Right.
school. The other school.
Yeah.
That hasn't been changed since this was a school. When did we move in here? 1988, 89,
So you know they're
89.
asbestos, yeah.
We could
Okay,
get
so-
we could get an asbestos assessment of the
I
building.
think these lights are working pretty well.
Well, the study, and I forget the name of the study, but the study that we had had a cost on what it would take to change lights in here.
Yeah, but they may not have considered the issue of
Yes, sir.
asbestos, that's what Joe is bringing up.
Right, no, I understand that. I would think that study would have had it, but
Not
we'll
necessarily.
find out.
Okay. And the fire station energy improvement, the asterisk there is related to looking for,
Grant.
fire chief's filed for a grant.
He
for that.
has submitted a grant, the status of the award, no decision has been made in terms of what he'll receive as money.
And you and I spoke to Representative Tanny's, assistant or whatever that showed up at
Hopefully they'll
town
make
hall
it.
that
Hopefully they'll make a
Wednesday.
decision.
Okay, cemetery phase 3, this is coming, that's a citizen, oh, that's the one.
No, this is the,
I'm sorry.
um,
No, I'm sorry, phase 3 ledge removal and site work, this is
Expansion.
in preparation of.
right, and we've already completed the first stage of that, which is the, this is site development, clearing, grubbing, removing of trees and
Yeah.
everything. So that piece was done in the 2009 plan. The second stage is the ledge removal and the site work, and then the final phase, or the final stage would be the loan seed. So it makes sense that we stay on top of that commitment because.
Now,
we
would this
need
come
the
out of
money.
cemetery funds, or do we have to actually raise an appropriate?
Typically, what we do is
Fund.
we raise these money.
Okay. School department, the roof repair, we discussed that at the
Right.
financial planning team meeting, is finance committee reviewed that with them too? What? Middle high roof repair, they brought it up at our last meeting. No.
Are you talking about the last chair you read there?
What?
At the last chair you read there?
Yes,
I wasn't there.
Don was.
Yeah, we haven't talked with the department.
We have voted on the, local option tax, seven to one in favor.
On the local option.
Yeah, and we will be meeting on the ninth, and we're going to be looking at, this stuff.
Okay, and,
The other school projects are a pickup truck.
now who determined these priorities?
That's what I was just gonna ask you.
Well, they're all, like, came to me as priority one, just so you know. So I took the liberty of reprioritizing.
But-
I'm not gonna hang my hat on that, but not everything.
So, 100% of these were priority one?
Not, there's only a few projects that they have in 2010.
Oh, I see, in terms of, okay, I understand, right.
So they would include the auditorium seating, upgrading the engineering laboratory, and the chemistry lab.
Okay, all right, now I understand why you were able to prioritize them. Do you know much about this pickup truck? You know, or is it a rack truck, which one?
I don't know much about it, no.
Having difficulty, it's the pickup. Okay. Water Department Emergency Power and Security Improvements. That would be paid, now, that's something that could be paid for directly from,
The MTB.
NTBE.
That's
Right.
That's right.
Looks like sanitary facilities, any idea what that is?
I do, hang on. There's no, restroom facility on the site,
Oh, okay.
and this would be for the installation of the restroom and bathroom location. It's been on the plan before, we haven't funded it.
I didn't know whether, you know, I'm thinking about, a neighboring town of Gloucester, they've been going on 2 weeks with having to boil their water, and there's no end in sight yet.
No, I don't know.
So you start thinking about, well, what would happen if we had that kind of catastrophe